Welcome back to Say Mojo Homestead. We are here snapping some beans. We had a lot of beans come in this past week and a half, so we are trying to get those all ready to be preserved for the winter. Today, it's kind of overcast. We're supposed to have lots of rain, so we're going to be making some okra soup.
Yeah. Before you go any further, welcome back. If you have already joined us, if you are new, welcome to the channel. We really do appreciate each and every one of you guys joining us and just supporting us on this homesteading journey that we're on.
Yes.
So we like to say, welcome to the family.
Yes.
If you have any questions on anything with the recipe that we're going to talk about today, then please feel free to leave it in the comments below. We will also put the recipe down below in the description.
Yeah. So as we've kind of been on this homesteading journey, I have felt more and more kind of pulled towards a simpler lifestyle. I think that's probably where the original draw to homestead kind of came from, was just to be kind of simplify our life and take out some of the crazy chaos. So in that desire, I've tried to find ways to simplify our menu and our meal and kind of feed from our homestead, feed our family from our homestead, not have to rely on someone else for what we need, so that we can feed our family off of our land.
So to support that, and just as resources, we really like to try to find cookbooks that come from simpler times, you know, and just go back to those original recipes. Like one of them that we have is recipes from the Great Depression. Just things like that, where the people had to use what was available to them and around them. Yeah. And they figured out ways to make simple recipes really tasty and fun. Yeah. And just wholesome. So that we also, I mean, I love personally like finding those books that I really treasure, the ones that like come along with stories from those times. Right. Because it just adds so much more richness and depth to the food. Right.
I even bought a campfire cookbook.
Yes.
A camping cookbook, because we do camp on our land. We've said that before. But also, when it's cold outside and we can have a fire, there's nothing better, in my opinion, than food cooked over a fire. It just brings this new level of richness and depth to anything you're cooking.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But it also takes a special skill to do that.
Yes.
So that's one of the reasons why we got that cookbook.
And it has all the notes and the tips.
We actually first kind of heard about it, got turned on to Okra Soup on a Netflix show that we were watching, High on the Hog, which is really just a show about where Southern food originated from and where it comes from. And okra soup was one of the big things there. And then we just found it in one of the cookbooks that we have. So we were really excited when we found that. We want to try that today, since it is a cooler and just rainy, wet, messy day. So the recipe that this soup comes out of, that we're using anyway, comes out of this book, which I am a huge fan of this book. Every recipe in here, almost, I would say 95%, so I did find some that didn't. Almost 95% of the recipes in here use cast iron, which is the reference to the old black pot.
So the author of this cookbook really likes simple recipes that are made in an old cast iron pot. And that's what we're going for.
Right.
It's simple, and we love our cast iron. So I love the stories and the recipes in this book.
So I just found a recipe that I know that we're going to try next as soon as we butcher our pigs. It is pig's feet soup.
Gross, no. Hard no. So
she is from Shreveport, Louisiana. It is a lot of old recipes, so there are definitely some that we will never try.
No.
Probably.
But the nice thing about these recipes, like the recipe we're making today, is everything in these recipes can come from our homestead.
Yeah. So let's get started.
Yeah.
So first, we're gonna need a cutting board. There's a lot of just different like vegetables and stuff that are going in this. So we have our cutting board. We need a knife.
So the first thing that it calls for is a ham to be cooked in it. We don't have any ham, but we do have a ham hock from GoDaddy's farm. So we're gonna go ahead and put that in there. Now we want this ham hock to cook down for longer than an hour, so we're gonna put in some stock that we made earlier this week. Okay, so we are going to slice okra and celery. Now that we have our ham hock cooking down, we're gonna go ahead and chop everything. We need to chop celery, onion, a half of a pepper, and our okra, and some tomatoes.
Okra, as many of you probably know, actually came over from Africa, and this dish was actually introduced to the Americans through slavery. So slavery, as we all know, is a very unfortunate thing, but what it brought was this food from another culture into the Americas and became what we know as like Southern food or Southern cooking. So I just think that's really cool when you can bring in something from another culture and really begins to define and shape and change the culture that it was brought into.
Okay, now that we have been simmering and the meat is separated from the bone, we're gonna add our quartered tomatoes, and we are going to add some salt and brown sugar. We're gonna let this simmer for an hour.
All right, so our soup is cooking. Now we're gonna make hoe cakes. That's right. If you don't know the story behind hoe cake, it's actually just cornbread, but they would take it out to the fields, and when they were working in the fields, they would put it on the hoe and cook it over a fire, which is where it gets its name from, hoe cakes. So it's basically cornbread that's cooked in a skillet. So you're gonna cook these things on medium-low heat for about 4 minutes or until it turns brown. Then you're gonna flip it, do the same thing on the other side, take them off, and enjoy.
We had our okra soup last night, and I will say I was pleasantly surprised. I thought it would be slimy. It wasn't. The okra definitely did act like a thickener, and it wasn't a super thick like gravy. It was just a nice hearty soup.
Yes, it was, and it was a hit with everyone.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
the Hoe Cakes actually were breakfast this morning.
Yeah, I mean they're really good. They look kind of like pancakes made out of cornmeal.
Yeah.
There's just, I don't know if it's because we use fresh cornmeal. There's just a really awesome flavor to them.
We
Yeah.
actually grind all of our own cornmeal, and we're now grinding like 90% of our flour. So
Yeah.
I do think that probably had a big factor.
Yeah, I do too. There's so much depth in the flavor when you have freshly ground grains.
Yes, just like
So-
any ingredient, freshly
Right.
ground or fresh ingredients always brings out more flavor.
Right, exactly. If you are not an okra lover, I would suggest trying okra soup. I have now found a second way. Actually, I have found a third way.
Oh.
I like pickled okra also, which I don't know if it's because they pick it when it's so young and tender to pickle it. Something about pickling it takes out that slime as well. So I guess I like the flavor of okra. I just can't handle that slimy, snotty texture.
Seriously,
Yes.
describe it as that.
It is kind of like snot. I can't do it. But this didn't have that, and the soup wasn't. Like the broth, I really expected the broth to be slimy, and it wasn't. It was awesome.
So it is the weekend, so we're gonna do our highs and lows for you.
I have to even I don't even know what mine are. Okay, go ahead.
So I'll go first this week. My high was Josiah had his first t-ball practice, and he was super excited, like all day long. Apparently, I was not here most of that day.
Yeah.
That's all he talked about. And when we got there, he had a blast, which was good. I was a little bit concerned. You know, like the hype building up to it and then him getting there and getting bored. Because they actually practiced for like an hour and 15 minutes. Held his attention the entire time. Loved it. Keeps asking when his next practice is.
Yeah.
So, my low would just be that it's been I don't know. I've just been stressed this week. It's been a stressful week. Just with stuff going on. I mean, not having a ton of work or stuff like that. Yeah, it's just work's starting to come back in, so that is good. But just kind of everything else that comes with that is starting to, I think, kind of wear on me. All right, so we had to move because the sun came out and was like,
It was super glary.
blinding Cass,
Killed my
glaring off of my white skin.
Yes. Your white shirt.
So anyway, just to be like honest and upfront with you guys, like I'm not gonna say like we are in like dire financial emergency mode, but it's getting tight. And honestly, like if we didn't homestead, then I really don't know that we would have made it through last month. So it's just a good reminder that everything that we go through, like hard work and all the extra time that we put in, is worth it.
Yeah.
It does pay
sure.
off, for sure.
sure.
So what about you?
My high was that Josiah lost his first tooth.
This is a big week for Josiah.
Yes, yeah. I was so excited. Teeth kind of weird me out. Like, I don't pull them. I'm not an advocate for like keeping teeth. But it's really exciting, that like sign of growth and getting older, that he lost one. So, and his first, so that was fun.
Yeah.
My low was that it's kind of a mixed low. We had our first week of like normal rec dance classes.
Ooh.
The girls are on company, so they started in August. The regular students came back this week, and it was like, I do the shoe ordering and the dance attire ordering in the shop, and it was mayhem. But we had so many people that needed shoes and leotards and all the things, so I was a little nuts. But it was a good week. It's good to have that problem, to have that many new dancers and have that many people at our studio. It was a fun week at the studio. It was just crazy. So it should be much smoother after we get all those shoes divvied out.
Oh boy.
So.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. I hope you guys have had a great week. We really do, again, appreciate all of you who follow along on this journey, to just hopefully learn something, to follow along with what we're doing, and just being a part of this YouTube family with us. So thank you guys again for watching. Hope you guys have a great upcoming week. And until next time, be blessed.